Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Let's just jump right into things today, shall we? We are unpacking a massive, hidden paradigm shift that's happening right under the broader market's nose. We're talking about codata, and really the dawn of the entire data asset economy.
So, what multi-trillion-dollar AI problem is the market just completely ignoring? The most historically transformative projects in tech, they rarely solve the problems everyone is complaining about today. Instead, they build solutions for these deep structural flaws that most of us don't even realize exist yet. Right now, if you look around, the public conversation around AI and blockchain is entirely consumed by surface-level stuff. Everyone is obsessing over transaction speeds or gas fees or, basic chatbot accuracy. But while 99% of investors are distracted by the shiny objects, they're missing a massive, invisible structural void in the AI economy. Behind the scenes, as decentralized AI and DeFi expand at this crazy exponential rate, a deep infrastructure crisis is quietly brewing.
Because here's the reality. We are currently experiencing a drastic foundational shift from a human-centric internet to an AI-driven agent economy. And to really grasp the scale of what's happening, you have to look at how data actually moves through our modern systems. Autonomous AI agents need constant, massive streams of high-quality data to learn and execute complex strategies. But, well, here's the catch. The current system relies on a fundamentally broken data supply chain. Big tech is basically just vacuuming up data from everywhere across the web. They bundle it into these opaque, locked-down silos and then use it to train hyper-profitable machine learning models. And who gets completely cut out of the financial loop? The original creator. Which brings us to the invisible data crisis. It's built on two fatal flaws. First up, we've got the data quality collapse. Public internet data is becoming recycled, synthetic, and just severely degraded. If AI models are going to keep growing and getting smarter, they desperately need specialized, verified data from real domain experts. But that leads us directly to the second flaw, which is the attribution dead end. I mean, think about it logically. Why on earth would top-tier experts give away their highly specialized knowledge for a tiny, one-time flat fee? Especially when the AI platform turns around and generates perpetual, recurring revenue off of their hard work. It doesn't make sense. It's an absolute bottleneck. Without a way to cryptographically tie a piece of data back to its creator and distribute ongoing royalties, this entire data pipeline is going to completely dry up.
There's this quote that really hits the nail on the head. If a platform cannot prove who owns a piece of data, exactly who contributed to its success, and distribute revenue instantly, it will simply cease to exist. Let that sink in for a second. The absolutely crucial point here is that we are on a strict timeline. Within the next 2 to 3 years, tracking ownership, providing real contribution attribution, and executing transparent payouts, these are going to quietly transition from being fun, experimental Web3 features into absolute non-negotiable standards across the whole digital economy. If a platform can't do these three things, it's just not going to survive.
Section 1. The 3 non-negotiable pillars of the next wave.
So let's talk solutions. Pillar number 1 is data assetification. Basically, data can no longer just be an invisible, disposable input. CoData introduces a framework that takes raw metadata, address labels, and expert insights, and it packages them into tokenized digital assets. And they pull this off using a really clever hybrid storage system. Actually, the easiest way to understand this is with a real estate analogy. Think of the actual data payload, the raw information itself, as the house. That stays securely encrypted off-chain. But the proof of ownership, essentially the deeds to the house, well, that lives permanently on-chain. This structural separation is brilliant because it ensures that your intellectual property cannot just be duplicated, stolen, or scrubbed clean by giant corporate networks.
Okay, now for Pillar 2, granular contribution attribution, or what CoData calls atomic data units. Imagine multiple participants collaborating to build a massive complex knowledge graph. Traditional systems completely fail here, right? They literally cannot figure out who actually did what. CoData solves this by breaking inputs down into atomic data units. It doesn't matter if you're providing a brand new observation, interpreting a complex pattern, or even just validating someone else's submission. Whatever your specific contribution is, it gets cryptographically hashed. This creates an unalterable permanent paper trail showing exactly how much value your specific input added to the overall dataset. And Pillar 3 makes sure you actually get paid fairly for that contribution. We're talking transparent, automatic payouts powered by open-source smart contracts. In legacy corporate platforms, rewards are processed through hidden internal accounting. We all know how that goes. Middlemen take a massive cut, and payout structures magically get altered retroactively. CoData completely removes human bias and corporate middlemen from the equation. When an enterprise or an AI model pays to access a specific dataset, those revenue streams skip corporate bank accounts entirely. Instead, Codata's native economic engine instantly recomputes the distribution ratios based on those atomic data units we just talked about, and it routes the funds straight into the contributors' wallets. Boom, done.
Let's actually put these side by side to see the stark competitive contrast between the broken present state we live in today and the non-negotiable future state Codata is building. Look at asset identity. Today, data is just a disposable input with zero tracking. The Codata model transforms it into a tokenized, ownable on-chain asset with permanent tracking. Then, under compensation logic, we move from one-time flat fees and honestly non-consensual data scraping to continuous, compounding royalty streams executed flawlessly by smart contracts. For trust verification, we leave behind low-trust black box sourcing that is notoriously prone to heavy bias. We replace that with multi-layered verification using AI checks and human staking. And finally, capital integration. Today, data is completely isolated from financial markets. But in the Codata model, it plugs directly into DeFi lending and liquidity infrastructure.
Which brings us to Section 2, Unleashing Trillion-Dollar Growth by merging DI with DeFi.
This is where things get truly wild. The implications of turning verified data into cash-flowing assets stretch way beyond just getting a paycheck for your work. In a mature Web3 ecosystem, ownable data assets become highly liquid financial instruments. In traditional finance, companies borrow money against physical assets like real estate or predictable software subscription revenue. But in the new machine economy, things work differently. Data curation networks, or individual research syndicates, will actually be able to use their provable on-chain royalty histories on Codata to secure capital. Think about that. You will literally be able to take your data royalty history to institutional DeFi lending platforms, like Maple, for example, and borrow against it.
And the only reason this massive financial integration is even possible comes down to this number, 100. 100%. Because of Codata's atomic data units, literally 100% of every single incoming royalty dollar traces straight back to the asset's original contribution fingerprint. There is absolutely no guesswork. This allows platforms to accurately gauge the true mathematical economic value of a dataset. With this level of radical transparency, sophisticated lending protocols can confidently provide capital, and even under-collateralized loans, to high-growth data networks. It creates this massive velocity of money, fueling unprecedented expansion right at the intersection of AI and Web3 finance.
We are absolutely living through a quiet revolution here. We're witnessing the transformation of data from being just an invisible, easily exploited commodity into an ownable, yield-generating financial asset class. You know, the projects that capture the most value historically are always the ones that build the infrastructure for these inevitable shifts way before the rest of the market even wakes up. By the time the general public starts complaining loudly about data exploitation and AI attribution failures, the networks controlling these provenance layers will already dominate the entire industry. And Codata is quietly building that exact foundation today. The infrastructure is live, and the future of digital ownership is quite literally being written right now. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought. As this transition accelerates over the next few years and the data revolution goes fully mainstream, will you own your assets, or are you just going to be the product? It's a fundamental shift in how value is created and distributed on the internet. Definitely keep a close eye on Codata and this entire space. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.